What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're in the shop and we have the Comanche in here. So it has been a hot minute since the Comanche has been in the actual shop. I'll be honest with you, it's kind of just been sitting outside under the shelter probably for like a year. The last time I had it in here, it was whenever I was getting it ready to go to Ocracoke on the road trip. So I am charging the battery. I did wash it. I feel like it cleans up pretty good. There's a lot of bird crap on it, but yeah, so I need to definitely go back into it, give it another oil change, put some air in the tire, and just do some odds and ends. But what I really want to do is get these PRP seats installed. I have factory Comanche seats that I can't remember where I got these from, but they're not the original seats, but they are definitely tired and they definitely hurt your butt on a long day of wheeling. So you can see right here my daughter got a little creative with the boxes that they came in. It's beautiful artwork, and look at there. Oh man. So I wanted to keep the tan and gray and orange because that's kind of the theme I got going here, because I really like the tan seats with the tan soft topper. I think that flows really well. I know I apologize like every video that I do about my shop, but I'm trying to rearrange some things. I'm going to be starting doing some podcasts over here in my shop. So just trying to clean up and just reorganize some stuff. But I already have the door off on this side. So this is where things can get tricky. So these are PRP brackets for an XJ and come with a hardware kit. They don't have brackets for a Comanche, and I'm really hoping that these work. So we're gonna find out together whether they work or not, or whether I have to do some cutting, grinding, and welding, which I'm not above, but I really would hate to mess up this really nice quality powder coating and these really nice brackets, but we'll see. So I'm planning in the future of this Comanche putting a roll cage either on the inside of it or like an exo cage on the outside. I'm not exactly sure. I'm really wanting to do some kind of structure on the outside just to protect the cab, just because if you've ever seen one of these Comanches roll over, it goes like pancake and then you're done. It's not like you can take the cab off and put another cab on. You've got to basically cut it right here, and then, you know, fab another top onto it. That's, you know, if you survive. So I'm really wanting to get a roll cage for it. I'm really undecided whether, like I said, whether I want an exo cage or like a hybrid where it goes inside, or I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you think it would look cool with like a hybrid exo cage? I don't know, but it needs something for sure, because I definitely don't want to ruin this truck. And then again, I don't want to make it look like a jungle gym. I want to make it look clean, you know, have the exo cage come up from like right here or something, or somewhere right here, and then go up, and, you know, just make it as less exo cagey as possible, if that's a word. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the other door off, and we'll probably start with the driver's side first. So I'm gonna start getting these bolts loose. So I have all 4 of the mounting bolts out. So now the seat should pull right up, come right out. Ooh. It is extremely dirty in here. I found my metal wedding ring. Cool. So I wear rubber ones. And I also found some barbecue sauce. Keep that stuff on me. The seat on the ground, what I did was I took these 4 bolts that were very loosely in the seat. They were, no joke, that far out, all 4 of them. I don't know if I just never tightened them up or never looked at it. Not sure. But so what I need to do is I need to separate this track from the seat. And with those 4 bolts out, you can pick up on this. And then, let's turn this over. Yeah. And then you can see the 4 bolts that I have to remove. I got 1 there, and then 2 on the bottom. I'm gonna try to get out. Here is the Comanche seat bracket. And it looks very, very narrow for what the PRP seats are. Kind of like I had figured it's not going to work. I figured I was going to have to do some modifications, but man, I was really hoping I would just get lucky. Alright, so let me get the seats out, and I need to do some measuring on those. So it looks like, I couldn't remember, but it's 14 inches exactly. Right there. And that's from inside measurement there. And it's the same for the front. At 14. So I started looking at how I could modify the Comanche seat bracket. And this, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's curved. So it actually goes down this way, and then these brackets actually loop the other way. So it's kind of like 2 rainbows meeting. So I think I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and just go ahead and make some seat brackets, just custom fabricate some. So let me show you what I got going on over here. I've got the seat, man, it looks really good. I've got the seat where I want it. I think just for right now, I'm just going to make some simple stationary seat brackets because, like I said, I'm thinking about putting a cage inside of here, so if I just make them stationary and not have them on a slider, then I can put my bar in the back and for my harness and everything like that. But let me show you my kind of design that I'm thinking that I'm going to do. I'm just going to do something, cut out a piece of metal, 16 inches long at an angle that I can just put a curve to on both sides. And that way I can remove the seat from the brackets. It's not just welded to it. And then if I ever do need to adjust it, all I have to do is just re-drill some holes and move the seat forward or backwards. You know, it'd probably take 10 minutes to slide it forward or backwards or whatever. And then I'll just bolt it down here to the floor and put some braces up under the bottom on the unibody just to reinforce the seat brackets. After a couple of cuts with some cardboard and some frog tape, I've got a mock-up bracket, and now I'm going to take it to the Jeep and see if it fits the way I want it to. So I do have the seat just sitting on a piece of wood at the height that I want it. And now I'm going to slide this in. May have to pick up on it just a little bit. So it's just barely touching the cardboard, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. Sorry, I know that's probably blurry, but that's what I'm thinking. Just something like that. And then on the other side, you can see, so whenever I put the Rubicon transfer case in the Jeep, I actually had to take a sledgehammer and just lightly tap the floor out just to give me enough clearance. And so with the seat, I had to tap it back in where you can almost stick your fingers in between the transfer case and the floor. So that side's going to be probably more difficult, but if I get this one where I want it, then that side should be easier. So now I'm going to turn this cardboard into metal. I'm going to take just some scrap metal that I have. This is 3/16 metal, and I'm going to hopefully have enough to get at least one side done. I have another one of these, and just kind of cut out exactly what I need and then tack it together and get it to the Jeep, and just before I weld everything up, make sure that it fits. So this is the piece of 3/16 metal right here, and cleaned up pretty good. My plasma cutter, it's not the best, it's just an Amazon special, so you got to be really cautious with it when you're cutting because it likes to kind of go haywire. But anyway, I've got it cleaned up pretty good, so what I plan on doing is just welding these two together. So I got a couple of tacks on here. Now I'm going to get the top. So here is the mount. Hope you can see it. My crappy little flashlight here, but fits perfect. All I would need to do now is weld it and drill some holes in it, and then we can move on to the passenger side. So what I'll do now is I'm going to slowly start welding this and figure out, I need to mark the holes while it's in the Jeep here. This is it. So here's the cardboard and here's the bracket. It wasn't too terribly hard. So I have solid welds all the way through. They're not pretty, but what I did was I did maybe a 3-inch weld right here, and then I would jump this side and do a little bit, come over here, do a little bit, just kind of jumping all around, doing passes. That way I didn't overheat this thing. And then I came up here and did some tacks and ground them down so there's welds on both sides, and this is pretty solid. And I did go ahead and drill some holes, and now I'm going to take it to the Jeep again and see how it fits. So I went ahead and just put some extra bolts on here that I had in the shop. They're not the Loctite ones, that way I can take them on and off real quick. And got the bracket on here, and now I'm going to slide this up under the seat, and hopefully it'll line up exactly how I want it to. Sick. Check this out. So I've got it centered with the steering wheel. So you want to, whenever you're doing custom seats, you always want to line up the center of the seat to the steering wheel. Passenger side, you can get away with being off just a little bit, but so hopefully it won't move too terribly much. Oh man, that is really comfortable. Get to the clutch all the way down, rip through all the gears. This is perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark exactly where this bracket is. So let me show you what I've come up with on the front inner. This is just a mock-up design here. So I made a base plate right here, and then I made this piece right here. It kind of goes up at an angle, and then another angle goes over. I wish this was a little bit thicker metal, but I believe I'm going to use strength in design instead of strength in mass here. So what I'm going to do is, you know, put some gussets in this on the back side and upside, and I'm not going to go from like I did on the front where it's just like one big piece. I'm actually going to make two separate brackets for the front and the back, just because it gets kind of hairy in there. I don't know if you can see where that wood block is, but where the wood block is where the rear one is, and that's just a lot of metal that would have to be going under there. So I feel like this would just be a little bit easier. And so like I said, I'm going to take this off because this fits perfect, and I'm just going to find some gussets and just run through, tack it up, put it back in, and just make sure that nothing's changed since I've been, you know, applying heat. Because if you apply too much heat when you're making brackets, it can warp the metal, and then your bracket's not going to fit anymore. So just something to think about there. So my plan for the gussets that I'm going to use, I have a bunch of Barnes tabs. So anytime that I order something from Barnes, I just order some tabs, but I'm running low on them, so I'm going to have to make some. And plus these are at a weird angle anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this down just like that. You can see I've already marked it. So I've got to find, or I've got to make a gusset that, I've got to make a gusset that matches this right here. So I have the front measurement right there. And so now I'm just going to draw a straight line to right here and then cut it out, and I need to make two of these, and probably go ahead and make 4 of them and have some gussets on the back also. So I've got the brackets all made, or the gussets all made. So with this design that I'm going for right here, it's going to be a pretty daggone strong seat mount. So I have one on this side and then one on this side, just like that. I definitely want to make this strong because I don't want to be going down the trail, and you know, if a weld breaks or something like that, then I'll be flopping all around. That'll be super aggravating, but I know with these gussets it's not going anywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack this together. So here is the bracket that I made. I just went and tested it in the Jeep and it fits pretty good. Alright, so I have a little update for you. So I have the front bracket in. I just got the bolts just in it. But that's pretty much what it looks like. I did paint it with some paint from Seymour, just some silver gray looking paint. And you can see right here I painted this also with the same Seymour paint. I feel like that looks pretty cool. And check this out. I kind of got a little ahead of myself. My camera battery died and I threw the back one together. The welds aren't that great. I started running out of gas. I'm gonna have to get some more gas. But I just braced it up best that I could. It's still kind of wet, but it'll work. So this actually uses the factory bolt in the back, just like this side over here. So kind of taking advantage of the bolts that are sticking out of the floors. Plate. So this plate will get 2 holes drilled in it and it'll actually come up on the bottom right here and just be a extra support for this bracket. So it'll actually be pinching the actual Comanche body. And I do plan on putting a roll cage in this Jeep, so it'll be incorporated with the seats, but until then this will be just fine. So I'm going to reach up and put the plate up underneath the Jeep and kind of square it up the best that I can. And then I'm going to mark where I'll be drilling holes. Come on, marker. Alright, so got my 2 marks right here, got one there and one there. So I'm gonna go drill these out. So here is my plate. I have 2 holes drilled right here and then I accidentally touched the wet paint right there. So this will go up underneath the Jeep and like I said, it'll be bolting to this bracket right here. So let me go ahead and put this in place. Sweet, lines up. I'm gonna get some bolts from the bottom just to hold everything on. And I did spray paint the holes that I drilled in the Comanche tub just so they wouldn't start rusting. Because this is a rust-free Comanche and I want to keep it that way. So now I'm going to get my seat, get all my seat brackets adjusted, and then bolt it in, and hopefully it'll fit the way I want it to. Sweet. Alright, so I have the PRP seat all mounted up, and man does it look killer. Man, that looks really good. And it feels really good. This is like the perfect height. It doesn't hurt getting in and out. It's adjustable. I like it.
I like it a lot.
So now what I'll do is probably go ahead and remove the passenger seat and basically do the same thing that I did for the driver's side on the passenger side. I really can't wait to see what they both look like in there. It's gonna be sweet. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the seat out and go ahead and figure out the brackets for this, because it looks like the floor, it looks like it's a little different on the passenger side, so I'm gonna have to do some measuring on that. I have the passenger seat exactly lined up with the driver's seat. You can see I have my proper spray paint and wood blocks to support it. And I did some measuring, and then I looked at my old measurements on that side, and they were the exact same. So the only difference is on this side is that where on the other side the transmission tunnel bulges out, this side doesn't. So I can make 2 brackets on this side versus having 3 like I did on the driver's side. I could have made 2 brackets, and I may end up incorporating them, maybe welding a piece in between those. But I'll probably wait till I end up getting a cage just to see if I even keep that bracket over there, because I may just incorporate the cage with the floor right here. I don't know yet, but I do know that I need to make 2 brackets on both sides of this. So I'm going to just use my old cardboard template and just kind of just make a mirror image of it. That way it fits in here. And then I'm going to cut it out of metal. I have this completely welded. It is extremely hot, but you can see where I would weld this much here, stop, and then, you know, come down here, or maybe do the opposite side, because I didn't want to get this thing, you know, cherry red. Some of my welds right there. I hope you can see that on camera, but I'll give you a closer look here. Yeah. So I did have to clearance this side. I don't know if I said anything about it on the driver's side, but I did have to clearance just a little bit. I forgot, just because of the hump that is, or there's like a subframe bracket right there, or structure piece. So I did have to clearance that a little bit, and so I'll be putting my hole probably somewhere along here for the floor, and I'll do the same thing on the bottom, just do a pinch plate. But I think it looks pretty daggone good. You can see my penetration right there in the weld. I love seeing that bluing of the metal. Alright, so it is a new night in the shop, and we are continuing working on these brackets. You see I have the passenger side outer all done. And like I said, I painted it with some Seymour paint. And now I'm working on getting this bracket done. And since this side of the Comanche doesn't have the hump like the opposite side, I can just cut out some 3/16 metal. And I found using the plasma cutter makes this a lot simpler. It is kind of messy and it burns my toes a lot. But it's all for a good cause. Because with a grinder, that would take forever, and I would have black boogers for 3 days after that. So don't want that. So I'm going to fire up the plasma torch and get this cut out. So I have this kind of tacked together here. It's all 3/16 metal. And then I have the PRP Cherokee brackets that line right up on top. And everything lines up on this. So now I'm going to take it to the Jeep, and just to make sure that my seat is the right height and where I want it. And I don't know if I'll be using the factory holes just yet. And something else that I've found to be very helpful when making custom brackets like this is to not use the nylon nuts, just use the quick ones. That way you don't have to zip those on and off and potentially mess them up. Where these, you can go ahead and tighten them up, just hand tight, and to get you in the ballpark of where you need to be. But of course, I'll be taking these off and putting the nylon ones on. So that's what the bracket will look like inside of the Jeep. Like I said, I don't have any holes drilled yet because I don't know exactly what I want to do here. But I'm gonna go ahead and set it up and then see what I think then. Oh, it's very heavy. So I've got the seat pretty much exactly where I want it, but the only thing is it's landing on the actual bolt for the factory seat mechanism. So what I may do is just get it where I want it, mark that bottom plate, drill it, and see where it lands then, because I don't want to fully weld it and then, you know, drill out the hole and then it lands somewhere where I don't want it to. Alright, so let's see with that hole drilled how close we are. It lines up right with my markings. It's the same height as the driver's seat. It's the same length back as the driver's seat. It is perfect. So now what I'm going to do is take this bracket out and go ahead and fully weld it. And I may try to paint it tonight. It'd probably be too hot to paint it, but I'm probably just going to paint it anyway. Alright, this is awesome. This is cool. So the holes that I just drilled, I'm going to hit them with some Seymour semi-gloss. I like using Seymour because it's really good paint and it also dries extremely quick. I'm going to hit it from the bottom also. That way I make sure there's no raw metal in the holes that I just drilled. Alright, so I should be putting the seat in for the last time. Oh. So these are the plates that'll be going underneath the Jeep. And I do have some bolts that'll go all the way through. And it's gonna, like I said, just on the other side, just pinch it all together. Then we'll be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip these in and probably get the doors back on. All right, so one destroyed shop later, got the seats in. Check these out. Man, these look really good. I think my favorite point of view just like from right here, so you can see them. Probably look a lot better outside of the shop. But man, the orange just matches the Jeep like perfectly. And then the tan, and then the tan soft topper. And it all ties in with the PBR can shifter. Heck yeah. These seats are awesome. Alright, so it is the next morning, and what other better way than to test out how comfy the seats are than to go on a beach road trip. So my family is at the beach. I had to come home to work a funeral, and I'm actually going to be driving the Comanche back down to finish off the rest of my vacation. So I've already aired up the tires, checked my lug nuts, and now I'm about to check the oil, and then we are heading to the beach. So I'm just kind of bombing some back roads before I hit the main stretch of road to the beach. And I'm probably 10 miles away from the house, something like that. And these seats are already amazing. I like sitting up higher. I like being able to, look out the window. 'Cause before, my seats were so worn out that I was actually slumped down. And that was really annoying. Like I had to reach for the clutch pedal and everything like that. But so far, I love them. They're in that absolute perfect position for me. I feel like I'm in like a race car or something, except for the fast part. It's not really that fast, but anyway, I'm gonna keep trucking on, and we'll be at the beach soon. All right, so I started smelling brake pads, and then I let go of the steering wheel, and it pulled very much so to the drivers. So I definitely have a stuck caliper. I can feel the heat coming off of that. But I did find some shade, so I've got to see what's going on here. Yeah, you can see my caliper smoking. Oh yeah, she's cooking. I don't know if you can see the smoke on camera. She is hot. So with the magic of a hammer and a water bottle, I've got it broke free. Before it wouldn't even move. So I'm gonna continue on and just keep my eyes on it and try not to use my brakes. Sounds like a pretty good plan. Typical road trip. Good job, Hammer. Alright, so we made it to the beach. Easton just pulled up on the golf cart here. I think he's excited to see his dad. But look at this view. Isn't that awesome? What you think, Easton? You like the new seats?
Yeah, I love it.
So the Comanche did good on the way down here. The seats were even better. Probably one of my best investments so far. I love them. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I really appreciate y'all watching me put the PRP seats with the custom brackets inside of my '89 Jeep Comanche. If you don't mind, hit that like button and make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on any other content on the Comanche. To be honest with you, these seats were probably the best thing that I've ever done to this Jeep besides the rear stretch and 4-link. Holy crap, I completely think differently about this Jeep now for the better. I mean, honestly, I hadn't really thought about it before, but if you don't enjoy the seat, you really don't enjoy the Jeep. But anyway, we'll see y'all on the next one.